Cobra Golf makes some unbelievable golf clubs, and now they're making putters. Right then guys, what is happening? Welcome back to the GolfMagic YouTube channel. I'm Alex, and today you join me at Mannings Heath Golf and Wine Estate to review some brand new putters by Cobra Golf. Now Cobra Golf aren't known for making putters. They haven't made a putter for a good 15-16 years. But today they have released two brand new ranges, and there's some pretty interesting technology to go with it as well. The two ranges are the 3D printed range and also the vintage range, and the names are pretty nice because they're modelled after some nice supercars, and you can tell with the design that they've taken some inspiration from some nice cars as well. Now 3D printing is pretty familiar with Cobra Golf. You can see with the Cobra Radspeed irons they had some nice 3D printed technology to minimise the weight, and they can reposition that weight for some better distance and overall a nicer club. And that's the same with these 3D printed putters. With these 3D printed putters, they partner with HP to create a 3D printed nylon cartridge in these putters, which really minimises the weight and means they can reposition this weight on the putter to really heighten that MOI. Now MOI in a putter basically means that the higher it is, the better it is, because it means you're not going to twist the face as much. So if you do push or puller putts, the higher MOI means that you're not going to do that. Now there's some other really interesting technology in these putters as well. Most notably, they've partnered with Sick Golf. Now if you don't know who Sick Golf are, you can see Bryson DeChambeau uses one of these putters with that arm-long grip. And they've got some DLT, and that means that on the putter, they have different types of lofts going up and down the club face. And also a lot of professional golfers don't actually tend to hit the ball completely neutral. They either hit down on it or hit up on it. With these descending lofts, it means they can actually just hit it down or hit it up, and it's still going to get that nice true roll. The only difference here is that with Sick Golf, they have their own insert. With Cobra Golf, they've made their own forged aluminium insert for some soft, nice feel. With these 3D printed putters as well, they've got a forged aluminium crown, which saves about 50 grams of weight, which again can be repositioned along the club head and just makes a higher MOI for us amateur and professional golfers. With Cobra Connect and with the design and the technology of these 3D printed putters, this is a really good release from Cobra, and I'm really impressed. Now the vintage range is slightly different. There are 4 models, but one's only available in the United States. The 3 models that we have are similar to the actual 3D printed models in that they are kind of evolution, but they are coming at a slightly cheaper price range. They're not 3D printed, and instead of having a forged aluminium crown, they do have a stainless steel, but they do look unbelievable, and I'm a really big fan of the actual sport. Now with these vintage putters, they're not 3D printed, so they're not really trying to save weight, but what they are trying to really do here, and what Cobra Golf are doing quite well with these vintage putters, is push custom fitting, because they're saying these putters, one's going to be right for your game. Now the names of these putters you can see for the vintage models, they have some numbers by them, and that's because this actually represents the toe hang of the putter. Now toe hang is important for what type of stroke you have. Now if you have a slight arc, or if you're just completely back and straight through, you can look into the custom fitting options of these putters and pick one that's right for you. As well as this, they're pushing the custom weighting of these models too. So they are slightly bigger than the 3D printed models, and you can interchange them a lot easier. And when you go to the websites, you can pick the exact weights that you want. You can see that these putters come with a lot of technology. I'm really impressed by these. They come with a range of different options, and the oversized mallet shape on the 3D printed putter comes with an arm lock putter too. And I've got that right here today. So I'm going to try out all these putters. As you can see, I've got all 3 vintage putters and all 3 3D printed putters. I think I should get on pretty well. What do you think? Let's do it. Right guys, so that is it for the testing of these new Cobra putters. Let's give an overall feeling that I have from testing these 2 ranges out. The vintage line, absolutely love the design. Love the design, the colour scheme, the inspiration from the supercars. I'm a big fan of them. The feel, on the other hand, I'm leaning towards the 3D printed putters for feel, and there are some actual models that I did get along with a lot more than some other ones. So let's just talk about the 3D printed putters first. Now what I noticed with these are the ones I tested first, is that sick technology, that descending loft technology on the club face. I felt like it was very difficult for me to hit a putt and not get a very true roll, a very nice stroke. That may be down to the weighting, but I did feel like I was never really hitting it, and I hit quite down the ball with my putts. I was never getting any sort of weird backspin, side spin, anything that you kind of do expect and sometimes see in other putters. I did find that I was putting better with the 3D printed putters than the vintage putters. My performance was slightly better, but not too much. My personal favourite was this one here, the AGERA putter in arm lock. I know guys, it may be a bit of a surprise, but I did putt the best with it. It did also help my lower back up a lot as well, because I do have some lower back problems, and me being more upright when I putt like this is a little bit nicer. But for me, this was actually a really nice putter, and the design with that forged aluminium crown looking down at it, it's quite a positive feeling when you look down at a dress. I don't think the GRANDSPORT or the Vintage Sport were the putters for me. I don't think my putter stroke suits that, but I'm not saying they're bad putters at all. I think if you do like that blade one, the vintage putter, the Vintage Sport is an unbelievable looking putter, and it feels great too. The GRANDSPORT I wasn't the biggest fan of. I think that's because I'm an idiot and my pet peeve is really difficult to pick the ball up. But for me, it still is a very nice feeling putter, and I would recommend trying it out if you do like those blade putters. That mid mallet design, so the Nova and the SUPERNOVA, I really liked the 3D printed SUPERNOVA. It's somewhat of an odd design. I know the vintage Nova is more like that Odyssey 7, and that was quite nice, but I didn't really get on with it that well. But the 3D printed SUPERNOVA, pretty nice. They do feel really well weighted, and I know saying it has high MOI doesn't really mean much to a lot of amateur golfers, but I really can attest to these big mallet putters. They feel very easy to hit, and if you do struggle with hitting those straight putts, these kind of negate that and means that it's now all down to your green reading. I'll put the price for these two ranges, so the 3D printed putter range here, and as you can see, the vintage range just here. So quite similar, but 3D printed range just slightly more expensive because of that 3D printed nylon cartridge. Imagine that means the manufacturing process is a little bit pricier. But which one would I recommend? I think just spending that little bit extra just to get that 3D printed version is a good choice. If you do really want to go with that AGERA or the SUPERNOVA, I don't think you'll be let down. I'm really tempted to put this putter in my bag, the arm lock version, but I think I'll probably never get to play with any sort of playing partners ever again, so I'll have to have a look. But the design and the technology that goes into it makes this a really good introduction from Cobra, and I think there's a lot more to come from them in terms of the putter department. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video today reviewing the brand new putters from Cobra Golf. We've got the 3D printed range with the GRANDSPORT, the SUPERNOVA and the AGERA, and then in the vintage you've got the Sport, you've also got the vintage Nova and then the vintage Stingray. So there's so much to choose from. So let me know down in the comments which one's your favourite. I think a lot of people will really like this AGERA, this 3D printed version, but let me know down in the comments which one you think is right for you and which one you think will actually suit your game, because obviously it depends what your putting stroke is. If you guys are new to the GolfMagic YouTube channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below to keep up to date with all of our YouTube videos, from golf challenges, golf reviews, you name it, we've got it to keep you guys entertained for all of 2021. We'll see you guys at the next video. Woo.